Years and years ago, one of the first pieces of work that this agency produced for Levi's was a poster which used the line, "When the world zigs, zag." And that became a sort of philosophy that, about Levi's, but also about this agency. We've always endeavoured to do work that was different, that didn't conform.
I see their knavery. This is to make an ass of me.
About him.
To frighten me if they could.
Though I changed. What do I see on there?
It's a bit like going to the cinema and seeing a film trailer for, say, the new Spider-Man movie. And you see this trailer that lasts, I don't know, 60 seconds long. And at the end of it, you think, I think I've seen the whole film. And it's amazing how you can strip films and TV dramas down to the bare bones. And then what you have is a TV commercial, I suppose. Levi's will run 2 campaigns a year. Sometimes that campaign will be a series of commercials, maybe 30 seconds in length each. Sometimes they'll do a blockbuster commercial, one-off, which is 60 seconds. A minute is a blockbuster in advertising terms. The history of Levi's advertising is about music. We've been through grunge and punk and techno and ragga, all kinds of things. We looked at a lot of hip-hop music, and I mean, we didn't really want to make a hip-hop promo video here because there's loads of those around, and we just thought that would be kind of naff. But what hip-hop language has is an incredible musicality about it. And Shakespeare is written as well to be very, very musical.
I see their knavery. This is to make an ass of me.
So we got to Shakespeare, and we thought Shakespeare is just a really exciting place to go. It's a surprise. You wouldn't expect Levi's to go to Shakespeare, because Shakespeare has lots of kind of classical connotations. It's connected with school and growing up and all the things your teachers tried to impose on you. So what if we kind of subverted the whole thing? In Midsummer Night's Dream, the character of Bottom has his head magically transformed into that of an ass. He's derided by the rest of his cronies, but a beautiful fairy princess called Titania falls in love with him. So we said, why don't we take that exact dialogue and put it into the mouths of young LA kids?
I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again.
And hopefully the result is a very kind of poignant and magical film that delivers a very strong message about anti-fit.
Though I changed.
In the old days, Levi's 501s were designed to hug your legs and your backside tight. But these days the kids don't wear jeans like that anymore. They wear them much looser, they're more sculptural, they hang on you, they kind of fit because they don't fit. And that's the message we've been delivering. And of course there's another message here about fitting and not fitting as well.
To frighten me if they could.
You're always in the business of selling a product in a TV commercial, or building a brand, if you like. You're trying to get viewers to feel predisposed towards a brand. So when that brand comes up with another product, they'll go, oh, I like that brand, I'll buy that product. That brand's cool. And Levi's is about being cool.
What angel wakes me from my flowery bed?
Levi's women, we don't cast them to be conventionally beautiful, but they have to be beautiful. And likewise the guys. They are modelling jeans, the guys, at the end of the day.
I love thee.
Titania's Queen of the Fairies, so a lot of actresses could have made that character very wet. And we didn't want it to be wet because, young girls around Europe don't like their Levi's women wet.
I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again.
Amanda is a strong character, but it was important that she had a kind of vulnerability about her. That was very important, I think.
You see an asset of your own, do you?
It took us a very, very long time to find Joshua. What I think he brought to the spot was something else, which was a kind of a menace.
But I will not stir from this place. What do you see?
Reminded us a little bit of a young Brando in On the Waterfront, or all those wonderful films you made, The Wild One, where he was, the original teenage rebel.
I will walk up and down here.
I keep thinking of Frank Sinatra in The Wee Small Hours. These people hanging around in the night with a lot of time on their hands in bars. And these kids are a bit like that. They kind of just roam the streets. A lot of the Levi's ads we've done, particularly the dialogue-based stuff, is about kids hanging out with a lot of time on their hands, relieving boredom by kind of goofing around and flirting with each other and talking about the cut of their jeans. We wanted to create a sense of theatre in the way we shot this. So we wanted to keep the whole thing very, very simple.
I will walk up and down here.
We tried to create an architectural stage so the actors could move around these streets with these very simple backgrounds of flat buildings, like people on a stage. We even went as far as having curtains open at the beginning. We didn't want to use fast cutting, we didn't want to use clever camera angles in particular. We covered everything in a close-up and a mid-shot and in a wide. And obviously when there was, when the dialogue was particularly intense, we'd cut to a close-up shot.
I love thee.
When we wanted to see the jeans, obviously a close-up wasn't much use to us, so we had to get some wides in. You know, we needed to show the guy walking along and see how the jeans moved on his ass.
So is mine eye enthralled to thy shape.
Sometimes if you shout very loudly about the product and introduce it into, say, the narrative in a very plonky way, viewers spot that. So the best way is to integrate it into the narrative seamlessly. What was great about this passage from Shakespeare is it led us into the product in a very logical way. There's a line where Titania says, "So is mine eye enthralled to that shape." Well, that line gave us license to get right into Bottom's jeans, to show the shape, to show the fact that they didn't fit him in the traditional way. They kind of hung on his arse in a very kind of sculptural, cool way. And this last sequence is pure theatre. It's very, very simple. 2 shots of the guys walking down the street in close-up, coming together, just like on a stage. Shot of the jeans, coming together, close-up of him, close-up of her. 2 shot, camera travelling round. Last shot of the gang, we don't need them anymore. They're out of the equation. Classic 2 shot. Again, pure theatre. They could be standing on a stage, falling in love. Out to a mid-shot and out to a wide. We leave the couple on the street corner looking into each other's eyes. No one else around. The stage is empty. It's just the 2 of them. Then the logo fades up. Levi's 501 jeans with anti-fit. That's the message we want to leave the viewer with. End of commercial.
Holby's all shot at Elstree Studios, which we share with EastEnders. The actual set is the 2 top floor levels of our own offices. We do try and give the illusion that it's a proper working hospital. Some soaps or serial dramas like The Bill, for instance, are quite location-based. Each week you use a different set or location. We are much more interior and obviously within the interior of a hospital, so we tend to have to bring the world into Holby. Think of Holby as a product, or if you were making a cake and the writer comes with the bare ingredients, it's the script editor's job to help guide them to put the amounts and measurements of what you need into the recipe. There are 3 stories in this episode. Carl and his dad Larry, who's stopping his son from chasing his dreams. Ice skating couple. Secretly, the lady ice skater's in love with her partner, only to discover that the partner's already seeing her mum. And the final story is Joanne and Liam. There's a sort of communication breakdown between her and her husband. She wanted a baby, he doesn't. And so she hid it from him and from everybody else. And the theme of a communication breakdown is also what's being played between our regular guests, Owen and Diane. They're in a sort of long-term relationship, and Diane is pressurising Owen to name a day for the marriage. Holby is a single camera programme. That means that as opposed to EastEnders that shoots its interiors with lots of cameras filming different shots at the same time, we have to move the camera every time we want a different shot. In this scene, for instance, we have a sort of 3-shot telling, so they'll run the scene, most part of the scene, covering it from this angle. And then to get, say, Owen's reaction here in the corner, we'd have to pick up physically move the camera to face him from a different angle and run the scene again and shoot it to get a close-up of his dialogue and his reaction to say something Diane has said. And the same then on the reverse, as we call it, to go around, pick up the camera and move to the other side of the set and film, say, Diane's reaction to what Owen has just said.
The colonoscopy didn't show us anything except a lot of blood. You're bleeding quite heavily. It's impossible to tell where it's coming from.
But as long as the womb's okay, there's no danger to the baby, is there?
It's not really as simple as that.
The immediate danger is to you. Our main priority is to stop the bleeding.
Has this happened before?
A couple of times.
Joe, are you okay?
I'm fine, darling.
What's going on? What's this?
Please don't freak out.
You're pregnant. When did this happen?
A few months ago.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because I knew what you'd say. I'm going to have this baby.
Don't be ridiculous. You know you can't.
It's what I want.
You're serious? And you're going to allow this in her condition?
What condition?
She hasn't told you. We were warned years ago that having a baby could kill her. She could bleed to death.
I have HHT.
Generally, round the bed scenes can be a bit boring to the eye, and obviously there's quite a lot of emotional stuff going on here, emotional journeys for the characters. Owen and Diane are discovering stuff, and to capture that and to give the sense of movement within the scene, otherwise that could be quite bland if you kept it in that wide shot. It's good to keep rapidly cutting, capturing their looks, tiniest looks to each other, which kind of tells the story without having to have dialogue. Okay, Fraser, the director, has decided to start with a sort of mid-close-up, a medium close-up, and is zooming out. That's often a nice way to sort of set up the scene because a lot of medical dialogue is being explained. It's important, this shot, to pan down and get the hand. This is where Diane realises that Joanne's illness is far worse than she thought and she's bleeding from her lungs. So it's important to get a close-up of that. Then enter husband, and establishing the geography of where he's going, and that he picks up the ultrasound picture and, of course, his reaction. You have varying shots of various lines and various angles. So the director then has to choose which suits the tone of the scene. For instance, if it's something emotional, you don't want to be very distant in the corner. You want to be up close and see the person's reactions on their face. It's stuff like that that you often don't notice is telling a story, but it is, in fact, you know, getting your audience more attached and emotionally involved with the characters.